Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stack IT Training. My name is Shegun Gumbajo. Also, welcome to the new Azure series on Stack IT Training. This series will feature so many ways in which you can use the Azure environment, how you can deploy resources in Azure environment, how you can manage your resources, and how you can monitor your resources in Azure. Today, we'll be talking on how you can use the NSG, the network security groups, to protect your VM in Azure. Think of a scenario where you have two VMs. One is for your web application, and the second one is for your database. And you have both hosted in a cloud environment. And you want to have a good security for your database. Your application will be accessed by users on port 443, and your administrators can also have access to that virtual machine on port 3389, which is for RDP. But your database will be secured and can only be accessed through the application machine. Nobody can have access directly to your box. Today, I'm going to show you how you can use the NSG to accomplish this. There are two scenarios that this can be done in Azure. The number one scenario is the scenario where you have a single resource group. And in this single resource group, you deploy a virtual network called VNet. Then in this VNet, you created two subnets, two separate subnets, and you deploy a VM each in each of these subnets. Then you have the network security group to protect both subnets. The second scenario is a scenario when you have a single resource group, a single virtual machine. I missed my logo of virtual machine in here. You can click copy and paste. Yes, I need the virtual machine in here. The virtual network. A single virtual network. In this virtual network, you have two subnets, and in each of the subnets, a VM is deployed in each subnet, and two NSG is attached to each of those subnets. Now, in this scenario, what happens is, because you have a single VNet protecting both subnets, there is an access or allowance for inter-VNet traffic. So every traffic between these VNets or these VMs within this VNet is allowed. Any port everywhere is allowed. But because you have another NSG here and one other NSG here, you cannot have direct connection between these two. So in this scenario, if I open port 443 for HTTPS, users can log in here to this VM, but they can't have access here. So what I'm going to do in this scenario, because I'm going to show you how this scenario one is done in this video, and the next video I'll show you scenario two. In this scenario, what we'll do is we'll create a Windows operating system VM for our application and a Linux for our database. So join me in the Azure portal and I'll show you how to create this. Just log in into my Azure platform. So the very first thing we're going to do is to create a resource group. A resource group is like a container that shows where all your resources are. So I'm going to name this Stack IT. You choose your subscription, but today I'll be choosing my Azure Pass subscription, and my location is East US. There are other locations that you can choose, but I will choose East US and create my resource group. Yeah, it's done. I could just refresh here and I can see my resource group. I click on this, you'll enter a resource group which is empty of any resources. To start creating my resources, do not forget we're trying to create two VMs, one a Windows and a second one a Linux in the same virtual network. So there are different ways. I could start by creating my virtual network and start putting each resources inside, or I could just start by creating a single VM and every resource is going to follow it and I'll manage my resources. So I'm going to create my first VM. I'm going to look for the image. I need the Windows server. Search for it, and yep, I have my Windows server. So I'm going to take the Windows Server 2016 and click on Create. Then I fill up this. I'll call this App VM. Premium diff is okay. Username password. Please do not forget your password. Actually, I just made it kind of very easy. If you forget your password, you can always redeploy, or you could just create a new one. There's a part I will show you also where you could just go in and just, if you forget your password, you just recreate a new password, which is like kind of very easy. Choose a subscription, choose an existing resource group, the resource group that we just created with the Stack IT. And my location, I still want my East US. And now this is, I would say, you say no when you don't have a license. What this does is it reduces the total cost of your VM. So if your VM is going to be like, say, $100, for instance, if you have an existing license, your cost of ownership of that VM can go down to like $80, $70 because you have an existing license. But we don't have a license, so we say no, then we say okay. The next part is to choose the size of VM that we want. So this is just for training. We don't need a big VM. We just choose something small. I'll choose this and I say select. And this is the part where we create our network. So we have to be precise on what we want to do. So I'm going to choose, we don't need high availability for this. The network, Stack IT VNet is okay. Subnet, I'm gonna edit this. So I need to go in here and do some editing. I'm gonna change my address space to /16 so that I can have much more IP addresses. Change my subnet name so app.subnet. I will leave the IP range in there and I say okay. Then I have this, my public IP is okay. I'm going to choose advanced for my network security group. I'm going to change the name of this because I'm going to use it for the host. So I'm going to call it Stack IT NSG, and I'm going to allow this any, it's okay for now. And if everything looks good, my storage is okay, then I'll say okay. Then it's going to validate, and when it validates, it's going to create. Then I can create it on create. So my VM is being created. It's going to take a little while for this to complete. I'm going to pause the video and continue. All VM has been fully deployed, so we'll go back into the resource group to go see what we have on that our resource group. Yes, we have everything as we wanted it. So this is our VM virtual machine. This is the hard drive. This is the network interface. This is the public IP. This is the storage. This is the NSG, and this is the network. Now remember, in our diagram, we wanted 2 subnets, so we need to create a second subnet. So we'll go into our VNet, and under our VNet, we click on subnet. So we have one subnet created, so we'll click on that subnet. We'll have another subnet created. So that's going to be our db.subnet, and the IP range is okay, and we'll say okay. So we have the second subnet. So then we can go back into our NSG. So inside this NSG is where we'll configure how to put the NSG or the subnet inside a single NSG. So in this NSG, you come to the subnet and you find that we have no subnet associated. So we're going to associate those 2 subnets that we created so that this NSG can be, like in front of both subnets. So choose the first one. We say okay. So that is done. Then we'll go back again, associate same network, then second this subnet, then associate this also. Now, if you don't know what the NSG is, the NSG is just like a Windows firewall, but this time around with so much strength. So it protects you on the network level compared to the Windows firewall that is more on the system itself. So we have our two subnets under the single NSG. So the next thing we need to do is to deploy our second VM into this network. Don't forget, we're going to create a Linux box that's going to act like our database that we're going to put in this network. So we'll go into resources, and we could use one of these shortcuts to just create. I like Ubuntu, so I'm going to create some Ubuntu box, create, and give it a name, DB VM. And username, we're going to use the same username. And my authentication, I'm going to use password. Password is good. Subscription is okay. Make sure I deploy it in the same resource group. So I'm going to choose an existing resource group, Stack IT, same location, ACS, and okay. Then I'm going to choose my VM size. I don't need something big just for the training. So I'm just going to choose something small. I choose this. It's okay. Just for illustration. Now, we have to choose the same network and put it in its own subnet. So my network is okay, but I don't want it to be in the same subnet as the web app. So I'm going to change it. So I'm going to choose the database, which I've initially created. I have my public IP, which I really do not need, but I only need this public IP so that the server can go out there to pick up data and all of those things. But nobody's going to be able to access that server using that public IP. My NSG is going to be advanced also. I'm going to use the existing one, not this new one. So I'm going to choose this one because I want them to be on the same subnet. So I have everything complete. Then I say okay. Then it's going to validate. My validation is passed, and I'll hit on create. It's going to take a little while for this to complete. I'm going to pause the video, and as soon as this is deployed, we will continue. Our VM is fully deployed. So we'll go back into our resource group, Stack IT, and we can see that I love to arrange. So I can see my second VM, which is a DB VM. Now, do not forget what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to create this first scenario. And this scenario, two VMs. One as our web application, and the second one as our database, a single NSG. So what we've done so far is to create the whole of this. If we look back into our Azure, we have our two VMs, single network, and a single NSG. So we need to go into this NSG and configure this NSG. So we'll create the inbound rule. Now, don't forget, this is our inbound security rule. So right now we have this default. You see that Microsoft is giving this mark here, showing that, hey, this is not secured because you're opening up your these ports to the entire world, which is not good. Somebody can hack in through this. They can create a lot of issues for you with this. We're going to leave it like this for this scenario, just to show you how this is done. But you could click on this and then change your source, so IP, and have just a single IP or multiple IP or a range of IP to have access to your RDP. But we're not going to do that for now. So remember we said the first VM is like an application VM on port 443. So here we'll create a rule for people to have access to port 443. From any source, anywhere, port 443, TCP, priority, say 105. Now, the interesting thing about this priority is the lower the priority number, the higher priority it is. The larger the priority number, the lower the priority it is. Just change this to 443, and we had, then what this does is we have this rule created for us. Now, we need to test what we've done. So we have this new rule created. We need to test what we've done. So the first thing we want to do is to see that you don't have access to this database. So do not forget, I will try to connect to this database, and I'll copy this and put this into my PuTTY. Let me search PuTTY. Paste and try to open and trying to connect, see if you're gonna get access. I'm sure this is not gonna connect. It's gonna go back and tell us network issues. Oh, ready to go. Yes, like I predicted, it's gonna come back and say network issues because we don't have access to this because the NSG is gonna block this, and port 282 is not enabled on the NSG. There's no way you can come through. It's gonna block it. So what we need to do next is to exit and go into the second VM, which is the Windows Hub VM, and try to RDP in, which we should be able to do that. We download this and we just open it. This, say connect. I'm gonna use a different account. Our account admin dash stack and password. Say okay. Yep, because we have that port open. So we're trying to connect into our VM. The VM is locked for the first time, so it's going to take a little while to connect in. So our VM is launched and everything looks good on our VM. We have access into our VM. So now we've been able to show that the database, you can have access to the database from the internet, but to the web app, you have access to the RDP. Now, if you remember the word we're following, we have our NSG behind here, and this gives us access for inter-VNet traffic, which implies that this VM would definitely have access to this VM because they are behind a single NSG. So using the local IP address of this VM, I should be able to SSH from this VM into this VM. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go get the local IP address of this VM, the Linux box. Back to my VM, my database VM, and go into networking under settings. And I can see my local IP address. So I copy this local IP address. Then I go back into my VM, the web app, the web application box. And here I could try to SSH. But remember, this is a new box, so I don't have PuTTY installed. So I have to go in and download PuTTY. It's going to take a little bit. I'm going to pause the video and continue when the application is deployed. Okay, I successfully downloaded PuTTY. So I can paste the local IP and on SSH and say open. See, easily I was able to get access here. Put in my username and my password. and I have direct access into my box, and I can do my configuration in. And with that, we have access to a box. We can do anything we want to do. For those that are a guru in Linux, we can go in there and do what they need to do. So what we've been able to accomplish so far is going back to our diagram, being able to achieve scenario 1, where we were able to lock our VM down and nobody could have access into our VM except if you RDP into this first VM, then SSH into this VM. Thank you so much for watching. Watch out for the scenario 2 in the upcoming video. Thank you. Bye.